Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for the KNEEJERK stream for Gameweek 5. We're going to discuss all things FPL and talk about this, shambles of a game week, should we say. But we're going to get into all of that in a sec. A lot to discuss. But yeah, how's it going, Jordan? You good?
Yeah, everything's good. It's been a very, I'll say, eventful football this weekend. I mean, there's been a lot of goals this weekend, but I don't think it's from the players that we mostly all have. So yeah, it has been a pretty dire, I think, week for all of us.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it, and talk, about game week 5, and we'll also look ahead, as always, to game week 6. And yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a therapy session, I think, because everyone, I don't think anyone's done well this week. And if you have, let us drop your points and scores in the chat below. But let's kick it all off. I've got my team currently on the screen, and again, yeah, it wasn't a great week. In all fairness, let's start off with Turner. Obviously, he's yet to play. He will be playing tomorrow night against Forest. Against Burnley. And we'll have to wait and see how he does. He is a home fixture, so hopefully he can get me a clean sheet. Looking at the back three now, let's start off with Gabriel. Now, I did start Gabriel. Luckily, I was gonna play Estupinan actually. And we know Estupinan wasn't actually involved in the squad at all in that Manchester United game. So Gabriel plays, he gets the clean sheet, which is nice. I think he picked up a yellow card as well in that game. So he ends up with 5 points. So all in all, I'm pretty happy that Gabriel actually got me a return, because there's not much in my team this week. So we'll take as much as we can. Chilwell, very, very annoying. I just can't really believe that he didn't start.
Yeah, I was surprised at that.
Yeah, so obviously Chelsea ended up drawing that game 0-0, so they did keep a clean sheet. So if Chilwell did start, he would have got the clean sheet points. But however, that wasn't to be. He came on, played 10 minutes, and then got a yellow card as well. So it's just it doesn't get really any worse than that. And 0 points for Chilwell, which is mega frustrating, especially for those that have triple up on Chelsea like I do. We're going to speak about Chelsea and delve into, what we think of their assets, because Chelsea are frustrating. Definitely, I think there could be a lot of panic selling, or maybe rightfully selling the Chelsea assets. Moving along to Ruben Diaz. Again, as I said, I bring him in. That's now 3 games in a row, no clean sheet for Man City. Maybe it's not a surprise. I mean, I didn't expect Man City to keep a clean sheet against West Ham. I thought West Ham would score in that game. And, as we saw, West Ham went 1-0 up. And, it was a pretty decent goal. It was a bit of a mistake from, I think, Jeremy Doku. And then they won it back, crossed it, and then Ward Prowse obviously heads it in. So it was a nice goal. And obviously, a bit unfortunate, having the City asset, no clean sheet right there.
Yeah, 2 mistakes now for Man City. It's become an ugly habit, I think. But yeah, that's one annoying point for this game week. I can say that has been quite annoying for those who do have defenders and goalkeepers.
Even in general, there wasn't many clean sheets this weekend, really. I know Arsenal had one. I think Fulham had one as well against Luton. But there's not really many clean sheets. And I think with the new rule changes in the Premier League, with the extended added time, a lot of goals are happening late on, as we saw with the Spurs game, etc. So, yeah, I think there will be fewer clean sheets this season. Moving along to the midfield 5 now. Again, not really much to shout about here. Mbeumo, who played Newcastle yesterday. I didn't actually watch the game, so I don't exactly know how he fared in that game, but it was a loss, a 1-0 loss after that Callum Wilson penalty. Then Mbeumo comes away with a blank. I think that's his second blank so far this season, so it's not a disaster. I didn't really expect Mbeumo to get much, in this game. It's a tough game away to Newcastle, so yeah, it's 2-pointer from him. Moving on to
Newcastle are strong at home, so it was difficult for Brentford. But in Mbeumo, I did watch that game. Mbeumo did play really well, And actually, Brentford had the first chance to score in that game, but it wasn't to be. I felt both teams played really well. It was quite tight, but Newcastle had that little edge, obviously, from that penalty from Wolves.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but look, and Mbeumo smashed it for me this season so far, so I'm not going to complain too much on him.
Yeah.
Let's speak about Rashford now. I did catch quite a lot of this game. I didn't watch the full game, but I did go in and out watching this game. And from what I saw of Rashford, he could have scored. You know, they had that one shot where he hit the defender, he blocked off the defender, and it hit the crossbar. Rashford also, maybe very greedily, should have cut it back. When he got on the left-hand side, he had an easy chance to just cross it, you know, for the face of the goal for Højlund, who's running in, and Rashford decides to shoot. So there were moments in that game where Rashford was very frustrating, I think. He was taking everything on his own. He's not really looking to pass. Yes, I think he has 6 shots. I think he had like 2 big chances. So on another day, he could have easily scored. But again, I think, you know, away from FPL, he sometimes is a frustrating player. I think when he's trying to take everything on his own, and he could involve more of his teammates, especially Højlund in that chance. So it is frustrating as a Rashford owner. Again, obviously, Man United, we might have a deeper discussion on Man United and their assets, but yeah, it wasn't another good game week, really. You know, losing 3-1 to Brighton. I don't know if that score should be a surprise to us.
It isn't to me as a Man United fan. I think Man United, it looked like they were going to struggle. Obviously, off the pitch, there's problems. On the pitch, there's problems. And obviously, there's even more problems now because obviously Casemiro went off injured. So there's a massive crisis for Man United at the moment. I'm not sure how they're going to recover this season. Definitely top four's out the window for them. And yeah, in terms of assets for Man United in the FPL, I'm still agreeing with the fact that it's not the right time for any Man United players to be in our teams, I don't think, until Man United have some structure and stability.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're going to come on to the rest of the Man United squad. I mean, obviously, I sold Bruno, and we'll move on to who I bought in. So, you know, Son. Obviously, for those that don't know, I took out Bruno Fernandes from my team and I transferred in Son. Obviously, I captained him as well. That did not pay off. That's fair to say. I bought Son in for obviously for the free transfer, and it looked like a great fixture on paper. Sheffield at home, but it wasn't to be that way. I didn't really catch the game again. I was busy on Saturday evening, but it, you know, Son had that one chance, I think, when he tried to curl it just past the post. Or I think the goalkeeper got a touch on it, but I did watch that when he tried to like curl it on the outside of the box. But you know, as you can see from the thumbnail, obviously Richarlison, he's the one that actually goes and is kind of the hero of the game with the goal and the assist, and even Kulusevski getting a very nice goal. And yeah, Son, do we regret it now? You know, because he's got Liverpool and Arsenal next, and are we transferring Son out now, guys? You know, time to get rid with the tough fixtures. What did you make of it? Did you catch the game?
I briefly caught the game. I was listening to it, and it's not that Spurs didn't play well. It was the fact they couldn't really finish or get the final third going. They were dominant most of the game against Sheffield United. And fair play, Sheffield United, they were defensively good in that game. They just stopped Spurs from pretty much doing anything in that final third. But yeah, it was an interesting game, especially at the end. Obviously the substitutions for Spurs did work out. And I think they were very fortunate they had that amount of extra time added on for them to turn that game around, because it did look like Sheffield United were going to get the win over Spurs, being 1-0. So yeah, it was a very interesting game. I think a very frustrating game for those who do have Spurs assets, especially if you've tripled up on them, because they were pretty much, there was nothing really to complain about apart from the final third, where players like Son, Maddison, well, apart from Richarlison, there was pretty much everything was going well for them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got away with one. I feel like obviously I captained Son, and that captaincy pick could have definitely gone a lot more like badly for me, because as we'll come on to Haaland, you know, in a sec, that Haaland could have easily had a hat trick against West Ham, and he probably should have. But yeah, Son, I think as a Son captainer, I think I definitely got away with one. It could have been a lot worse, a lot more damage. Moving on, Saka, he got the assist for the goal for Trossard. Obviously, Trossard scored a brilliant goal. So he was awarded the assist for that. So again, I was contemplating potentially selling Saka. I'm glad I kept him. And yeah, he comes away with the assist, and he's only one of the few returners on my team. Sterling, again, very frustrating. I bought him in after the Luton haul, and since then, 2 blanks in a row. Yeah, what's there to say about Chelsea? You know, Bournemouth 0-0. They couldn't get the win. We mentioned Chelsea need to win these games. Obviously, the fixtures look good on paper, and after game week 9, Chelsea's fixtures turn very, very tough. And if they can't win these games, then God knows what they're going to do after game week 9, because those fixtures are going to be tough. They've got City and Tottenham and Arsenal, all these teams to come. So he's not looking very good for Chelsea. And I think triple up on Chelsea right now doesn't look very smart. You know, if I'm being honest, I probably want to get rid of a couple of them now. But yeah, we're going to come on to our transfer plans and stuff in a sec. Moving up top, Jackson, again, another yellow card for him. I think that's now 4 or 5 yellow cards. I think he's one away from actually being suspended, which is crazy, you know, this early on in the season. He seems to get yellow card every game. No goals again from Jackson. Yeah, I mean, I watched that clip. We had that shot with his left foot, and he just whacked it into the stand. I don't know what he was doing. Did you catch the game?
Yeah, I caught bits and pieces of the game. I actually caught that moment where he did slice it into the crowd. It actually looked like he was aiming for the person that was walking up the stairs more than the goal with that shot.
Yeah, I just don't know what he was doing. Right, what that shot was just.
Yeah, it was completely out of his control. He was nowhere near getting near that goal with that shot. It was absolutely, I don't know what to say of Nicholas Jackson. It was utterly a mess from him in that game. I'm starting to really doubt him every game week, because it just seems to get worse for him.
And yeah, then finally we've got Haaland in my team, who comes away with a goal. Now, for those that didn't watch the game, he pretty much missed an open goal. You know, Doku cuts it back for him, and on another day, Haaland's burying that. But you know, he's a couple of yards out. He should really score. Obviously, misses, and after that he missed another very easy chance. But then late on, Haaland did score. Slightly annoyed, obviously. I thought I got away with it, but he gets his late goal, and then obviously as a Son captain, he wasn't great. But again, I'm very lucky. I feel that the damage could have been a lot worse if Haaland got 2 or 3 goals. You know, as a non-captain, it would have completely screwed me, really. But again, 6 points, the goal, and I think we'll take that and run, really. Haaland's a machine. I don't think I'm ever gonna back against Haaland anymore. I don't know if it's worth the risk. I tried to take that risk this week, captaining Son, didn't pay off. And I saw even a game against West Ham, which is meant to be tough, you know, Haaland still could have had a couple of goals. So yeah, that's what he can do. Moving on to the bench, you know, I've got Pickford. He comes away with 2 points after conceding. He looked like he could nick a clean sheet, and that would have been very annoying, actually, if Pickford got a clean sheet the week I decided to bench him. But you know, Trossard did score, so yeah, Arsenal ended up winning 1-0. Estupiñán didn't, you know, he wasn't involved in that game yesterday against Manchester United, so he comes away with 0 points. Archer 1 point, and Kabore with 2-pointer as well. So all in all, it has been a pretty dreadful game week. It is 30 points for me. I still have Turner to play, but you know, I'm not banking on him getting a clean sheet or anything. We'll see what he does. So yeah, 30 points currently with 1 to play. My rank is around 2.5 million. I believe it's 2.5 million. I think the overall rank is updated again on the website. I just checked a second ago. So yeah, it is currently 2.5 million. So it is a red arrow again. Becoming a bit of a theme, these red arrows. It feels like a while now since I got a green arrow, but it's just one of those game weeks. I think everyone did pretty poorly.
Yeah, it was a tough game week for everyone, I think. It just didn't go the way we wanted it to in every aspect, even though there were so many goals this week.
Yeah, a lot of the goals have been scored by players that are very low owned. Like, most of us don't have those players, and the highly owned players that we all do have, you know, most of them, I'd say, well, for all of them, blank. So yeah, it was a very strange game week, but yeah, I mean, that is the kind of the crux of it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of players that a lot of people took out, like João Pedro scored, Charleston scored. Those two were massively transferred out, and I imagine even adds to more of the annoyance for
Yeah.
those to score and return when you've taken them out your team.
I mean, yeah, I agree. It is a weird game week. So let's move on to your team then, because we've got to see how you did. Obviously, you did a bit better than I did. Um, talk
Yeah, I
us through
was.
how your game week went. And yeah, your thoughts on your team.
Yeah, it was well. Let's start off with Edison in goal. We all know how that went again. Once again, Edison doesn't keep a clean sheet, but it was expected, like we spoke about it on the team selection. West Ham was going to be a tough fixture to play against, especially away from Man City. And actually, James Ward-Prowse got the goal for West Ham, surprisingly. Yeah, again, he's proven us wrong because we have said to ignore James Ward-Prowse in the previous streams of our transfer tip videos. But yeah, he did score against Man City, which is pretty good, I think, for those who do own him, because he is relatively low owned in that game. But yeah, Man City did win that game 3-1 in the end, even though West Ham got the first goal in that game. Moving on to the defence. So start off with your doggy. He got only 2 points. Spurs actually conceded the first to Sheffield United. It was 1-0 for pretty much the whole game until the last minutes of extra time, where Richarlison comes on, literally a few minutes, manages to score and get an assist from that game. So yeah, massive game changer for Spurs' substitutes for Richarlison to obviously turn it around, considering how badly he's been so far in terms of fantasy and in terms of his form. So yeah, it's an interesting game, let's say, for Tottenham, but they got the 3 points in the end.
Talk to me about getting the Botman points. I see you've got the Botman points off the bench, which is maybe very lucky, but yeah, 9 pointer from Botman, like that must be nice. Obviously, Stupinian not starting.
Yes, I don't know what's don't know where I got this luck from or fortune, but yeah, Botman comes away with a 9 pointer. He gets the bonus 3, which again I'm surprised that Botman's getting the bonus 3 over Trippier, because we always saw last season obviously Trippier was the bonus 3 magnet whenever Newcastle got a clean sheet. But again, Botman, this is another 3 bonus points for him, and it's quite interesting whether we go for Botman instead of Trippier in terms of, obviously, if he's getting more bonus points to Trippier, then and he's cheaper at 4.5 million, maybe he's a better alternative. But yeah, he gets the clean sheet, bonus 3, and that 1-0 win over Brentford. Huge win for Newcastle, especially when they have Champions League coming up this weekend. It'll be a high to go forward in, but unfortunate for Brentford, who have now got their first loss this season. But yeah, Botman obviously does come on for Estupinian, who didn't play at all in that Man United game. So it was nice to see Botman fit and ready and rewarding me with those 9 points, which in this game week are very precious. Moving on to the last defender, and this is the player I transferred in. And yet again, my transfers so far this season have been literally spot on, because again, I've rewarded with Saliba, giving me the 6 points. Obviously, Arsenal got the clean sheet a little while ago against Everton. It was a tough game to break down for Arsenal in that game, because Everton were strong at the back and stopping Arsenal from scoring left, right, and centre. But it wasn't to be, as obviously Saka did assist Trossard with the goal in that game, and it led to Arsenal winning the game 1-0 later on in that game. So yeah, a nice clean sheet from Saliba, and yeah, the transfer did pay off this week, where I did take out Trent, if you guys were wondering. And now we move on to the midfield. So we start off with Maddison. Yeah, obviously he got a yellow card in that game. No returns for him this week. Quite a surprise, especially against a newly promoted team. You expected a bit more from the Spurs, especially how dominant they were throughout that whole game. But yeah, a blank for Maddison, and obviously his fixtures do become more harder now as he has Arsenal next. So we have to see, obviously, how he does cope with the difficult fixtures now Tottenham face.
I want to actually mention, you got Sterling in your team. Obviously, we both own Sterling as well. So
yes.
Again, another blank. Obviously, you owned him for that 19-point haul against Luton. Are you planning on taking Sterling out as well now, or What's your thoughts on Sterling? Are you going to keep, or are you think it's time to go?
Well, I think it's at least time for one Chelsea player to go, because after seeing that Chelsea game again, it's just I don't know what it is with Chelsea. They had so many chances in that game and didn't put any through, and that's a bit concerning considering their fixtures are so nice. I don't think they can really get going. If I'm honest, if they're not scoring against Bournemouth, I can't really see them scoring against Aston Villa next or Fulham. Maybe
Who's
Burnley.
more of a priority for you to sell? Would you rather sell Sterling or would you rather sell Jackson?
I'd rather sell Jackson, I think, because I do want another forward that's gonna obviously get me points. Obviously, I have other midfielders, obviously that can get me points in that position. But if you've just got Haaland, then you haven't really got a forward that's getting you anything, because it doesn't really matter if Haaland gets a goal or whatnot. So I think the priority is Nicholas Jackson. I'm kind of regretting not bringing in Alvarez, if I'm honest, over Nicholas Jackson at the start of the season, because Alvarez has had such a good, obviously, run of points. He got 2 assists this game week, a 9-pointer. So yeah, Jackson, I think, is the priority. I think in terms of Chelsea assets that I may be thinking of taking out for next game week.
Okay.
But yeah, without further ado, Sterling comes away with 2 points from that 0-0 draw against Bournemouth. He did get a yellow card as well to top it off. So yeah, not much to say in that game. He did get a clean sheet point, but that's not really good enough considering he's quite expensive, 7.2 million. So yeah, hopefully he can pick it up against Aston Villa at home and Chelsea can get going again. Moving on to the next midfielder, that is Saka. He got an assist, a very important assist against Everton, where Arsenal did win 1-0. And he also got the clean sheet point on top of that too. So yeah, it was a nice return for Saka. He didn't score, but he at least got a return from that game. And yeah, I'm quite glad that the Arsenal double up pretty much saved me, I think, partially for this game week, because I think without those Arsenal duos, I think it would look pretty much worse. Moving on to the next midfielder, that is Foden. Now, it was interesting with Foden. He only played about, I think, 65 minutes in that game, and then he got substituted off in that 3-1 win over West Ham. He didn't get any of the returns. He wasn't part of any of that, but he was, I'll say, playing all right football. He did have a chance to score, but it was saved and obviously denied by Areola. So apart from that, I'm still happy with Foden, keeping Foden in my team despite him blanking this game week. But yeah, hopefully when Man City do face, when they face Nottingham Forest at home, he can get back on the return sheet. Moving on to the last midfielder, and that is Mbeumo. This was expected, I think. It was a lot to ask for Mbeumo to get something from this game, but I don't think it really matters much that he did blank. It was a tough fixture. Newcastle, they're playing Newcastle at their home ground, and they did lose 1-0. And it's their first loss for Brentford this season. So it's not too bad, I don't think. Mbeumo has been really good so far for me. That's his, as we said, it's only his second blank this season. So it's not really much to worry about. And he's considered to be low owned as well at 28%. And finally, we move on to the front two forwards. Obviously, we've spoken about Nicholas Jackson and how bad he was again in that game. It seems to be getting worse for Nicholas Jackson. I'm honestly losing patience and frustrated with his performances. It seems to be getting worse rather than better. And he hasn't really got to grips with the Premier League. And I don't think he will this season, if I'm honest, if he's still performing the way he is at the moment. He did pick up another yellow card, so that is now 4 yellow cards for him, as we did mention. He only needs 1 more, and he is suspended. Considering he's only played 5 matches and got 4 yellow cards, that is pretty bad. And that was from another dissent. He was at the referee again. This is the second time he's done this, and he doesn't learn.
Yeah, he needs to stop doing that, I guess. Or
yeah, because he's going to land himself in trouble next time he does it. for getting another yellow card. But yeah, only 1 point from Nicholas Jackson. And obviously, Haaland, he scores one of the goals against West Ham in that 3-1 win over them. And yeah, he actually didn't get any bonus points, which comes as a surprise. But yeah, he did score the goal and got the 6 points. But because I captured him, and I'm glad I kept the captaincy on him, he did get me 12 points. And briefly on the bench, we've got Areola, who obviously he did concede goals, so he had a point taken off of him. He did make 10 saves in that game, though. So he did have a decent game, considering he did outpoint Edison by 2. So he was actually the better alternative to go for, which is quite mad. It feels like Edison can't really save to save his life sometimes in matches. But yeah, 4 points from Areola on the bench. Obviously, Estupiñán got substituted off the starting 11 because he didn't play for Botman. Obviously, he's on loan, and Obama didn't play any minutes in that West Ham game against Man City. So overall, as we have mentioned, it has been not a great game week. Very low scoring game week for all of us. 45 points for me, all out. And yeah, a little red arrow. I was on 8k overall rank. I'm now down to 15k-ish rank. It hasn't updated again, so I think it's about 13k. But yeah, It's a small red arrow for me. I thought it'd be much worse if I'm honest, and I think it would be if Arsenal didn't deliver for me earlier on this evening. So yeah, overall, not such a bad game week. I think I've got a bit lucky though this week.
Okie dokie, nice. So that's our game week 5 scores out of the way. Let us know how you guys did in the comments below. We want to know how you guys scored. So drop your comments and your scores in the comments below. We're going to read a few out actually right now. We've got James, 43 points for me this week, which is the highest out of all my friends and family. That sums up the game week. I mean, yeah, not a bad score for this game week, I guess. Did a lot better than I did. Fruit Plug with a comment, 67 points from activating my wild card and captaining Mo. Yeah, look, you did brilliant. 67 points, very nice score this week. And yeah, wild card definitely paying off. And Mo Salah, for me, he's coming into my team. I think we've maybe underlooked Mo Salah, I think, all season. And I think he should be a big priority, I think, in our teams personally. And I will be looking to somehow bring Mo Salah in because he's pretty much returned in every game so far. Harry says 34 points. Dan says 42 with Turner to play. Yeah, so a lot of low scores. Abdullah 47 with Turner to play, rank 21k. Nice.
That's very good.
Dixie, complete disaster lads, 32 points with Turner to go. Had a great team on paper. Son captain. The trick is try pick your best team you can and fear the worst. Yeah, I think it's just one of those game weeks really where nothing really went our way. A lot of the players that we have, the higher owned players, didn't really do much,
Yeah. I think it was mostly due to obviously we just had the international break and a lot of these players have just literally come back to Premier League football, and yeah, I think it's a bit leggy. I think it has affected the game week, that international break.
Animations with a comment, thinking about a Newcastle defender for next game week. Who is the best one? Currently thinking Trippier. I mean, Trippier is a good pick, or Botman. I think either of them, but I think Chilwell out, Trippier in is going to be a popular move by a lot of managers this game week. If you've got the money to go Trippier, I still would probably go Trippier, but if you've not got the money, I think Botman's not a bad shout. As obviously Jordan, you've got Botman, got the free bonus points this week as well, and I think Botman also is a good shout. But yeah, I like Trippier. I think Chilwell to Trippier could be popular this game week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good alternative, Botman, because he's so much cheaper than Trippier. The Trippier is 6.5 starting, and Botman's only 4.5. So you're saving yourself 2 million there if you prefer to go with his cheaper defender.
Yeah. Comment here, 55 points. I'm happy. Saved by Pedro on the bench coming on. Ooh. Yeah, it's a bit lucky, I guess, but you can't really complain. Pedro. Sorry, I was saying Pedro coming on and scoring that lovely goal. I mean, I think Onana really should have saved that, if I'm being honest. I thought the goalie, again, I'm not convinced by Onana, but that's a whole nother topic. But But yeah, I think the goalie should have saved it. But however, it was a good strike in the end, and yeah, great points really. 55. I think that's a respectable score. What have I missed? Alex says, Huss, what do you think of Sterling to Eze, Fulham, and Forest at home in the next 3 wildcard game week 9? Yeah, look, I think Sterling could be on the chopping block now as a sell. Personally, it's just I'm not convinced. Again, watching Chelsea again, it's just frustrating because we all thought that after that Luton game, the way they played against Liverpool in that second half as well. We thought, they look like a good team potentially this season. Even against West Ham, they lost that game, but there was some positives to take from that game. Obviously, they've done really well against Luton. Sterling scoring 2 goals in that game, but since then, lost to Forest and a draw to Bournemouth. And then Aston Villa next. I could see Chelsea losing that game honestly against Aston Villa, or even drawing. I think Watkins and whatnot and Diaby will be looking forward to playing against Chelsea. I think so. Yeah, I definitely think you can sell Sterling, and it is crazy to think that we rushed to bring Sterling in after Luton, and now we already want to get rid of him.
Yeah, it's a massive turnaround, I think, for Chelsea in terms of the hype we had after Luton. And now we're just saying that now it's not good enough for us to get rid of him after 2 game weeks. But it's hard to look back when you go to game week 8 when they have Burnley away. Are we rushing it too early on this, or is this the right moment to take out a Chelsea player?
I think if you're doubled up attack like Sterling and Jackson, I would definitely probably get rid of one. I think Jackson is the priority. If you've got Sterling and Jackson, like I do, then I'd be going for Jackson first, getting rid of him, maybe bringing in an Alvarez or someone like that, or even a Watkins, and then keeping Sterling for a couple of more weeks. I think that's probably more the sensible thing to do, in my opinion. But let us know, guys, who do you think we should sell priority first? Is it Sterling or Jackson, or do you think we should just keep both? But I'm of the camp we should probably get rid of at least one because they're not scoring many goals. No. And they have played 2 easier opponents on paper. Forest and Bournemouth, they haven't scored against either of those teams, which is a worry, is a concern.
Yeah, no goals in 2 game weeks for Chelsea now, and that's not good at all for them. They should be scoring in these fixtures.
Yeah, then the fixtures, obviously, Aston Villa is a tougher game for them. Watkins hasn't scored yet. He's playing Chelsea next. You know what that means, says Harry, obviously Chelsea fan. Yeah, look, Watkins might break his duck for the season against Chelsea. It's very possible. Is Rico Henry fit? I mean, I think so.
Yeah, he did twist his ankle in that game horribly when he was turning around I think in a run with Trippier. He was trying to get the ball, and then he sort of awkwardly twisted his leg and had to go off in that game. So I'm not sure, Abdullah, on this situation, if he's fit or not, but I'll just keep up to date and see what the press conference says about him.
Yeah, just wait for a press conference midweek, I think. Don't want to be rushing him in early in terms of transfers or anything. Just definitely wait and see what Thomas Frank says. So
that was very unfortunate, I think, for that, because a lot of people have Henry, and the fact that he got injured very badly, it looked really awful with the replay.
Fruit Plug is saying out for the season. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but I've not seen anything like that. So I think we'll just wait and see what his manager says in his press conference, and then go from there. If he is out long term, then obviously we've got to sell him. Let's pull up our teams from game week 6 teams and how we're looking like and how we're lining up, because already we're looking ahead and how we can knee-jerk and who are we bringing in. Who are we going to bring in this week? Who's the hyped up player that we all need to? Obviously, it was Son last week. This week, I should say. It was Sterling the week before that. Hold on. Can you guys see that?
You might zoom out a little bit.
Bear with me for a sec. It's not letting me do it. I don't know what is going on. I'm gonna keep it like this, so you can't see my bench. Sorry, guys. So this is what my team looks like currently, and that is for game week 6. Sorry, my screen is just frozen. I don't know why. So in goal, I've got Pickford, who's got Brentford. That's what we looking like. I think I'm gonna play Pickford. I've also got Turner on the bench, who's got Man City, so I won't be playing him. Looking into the defense, I've got Ruben Diaz, who's got Forest at home. I think that's a decent fixture where you should get a clean sheet, but you never know with Ederson, I guess. Chilwell as well, who's got Aston Villa. He could be a potential sell now, I think, for me. Chilwell, if I'm being honest, especially after that. After not starting, it does worry me a bit. I do have Gabriel on the bench. So Gabriel has Tottenham. I could play Gabriel, but again, I don't expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet against Spurs. So that is a slight concern right there. I've got Estupiñán as well.
Would you be tempted at playing Kabor, who has Wolves at home over Chilwell?
Oh, Kabore.
Yeah.
Now, probably not, if I'm being honest. I think Wolves, I can't see Luton keeping a clean sheet against Wolves either, to be fair. I've not considered it. But now I'd still probably just play Chilwell and just hope he starts. If not, play Gabriel against Spurs in the hope that he can get an attack in return or something like that. Estupiñán's in there. He should be back for that game against Bournemouth at home. Again, nice fixture for Brighton. And hopefully he's back in the lineup and he starts. Midfield 5, we've got Son, Mbeumo, Saka, Sterling, and Rashford. Sorry. Again, Arsenal and Spurs obviously play against each other. So that is a bit of a worry, you know, Son playing Saka. I think it's a tough game for both teams. Both teams doing quite well. They'll be looking to win. So I'm probably going to have to keep both. And that's why bringing Son in this week. Now he's got Arsenal and Liverpool after the blank. It's a bit frustrating, but I can't take him out now. And Mbeumo, Everton, I think that's fine. Sterling, Aston Villa, I'm probably going to hold him just because I'd rather get rid of Jackson. And then up front, obviously, Haaland and Jackson. So I think the team, looking at it on paper, it doesn't look too bad. I think Jackson is the one I'm looking at potentially taking out for maybe someone like Alvarez at Forest at home. I think that could be quite a nice move. So again, I'm going to wait and see what Pep says in his press conference. Hopefully we get some maybe early team news, etc. But if I get the inkling that Alvarez might start again, then Jackson to Alvarez is what is on my mind right now. I think that is what I'm planning. But again, it all could change depending on what we hear in terms of team news. But other than that, I don't really want to be taking hits or rage wildcarding at this stage, I don't think.
Yeah, I think with the Champions League obviously coming up, it will be very vigilant on players like Alvarez if he is to obviously play in that Nottingham Forest game, or does Pep rest him for obviously that fixture.
Yeah, we have to wait and see if players like Alvarez starts. Obviously, Alex with a comment. The only thing is there a good chance Alvarez will be rested v Forest with Champions League before and Newcastle in a cup a few days after. I don't think there is enough reward with defensive transfer at the moment if you're wildcarding in the next 3 game weeks. I completely agree with Alex. I think I would be attacking midfielders and strikers definitely with our transfers. And yeah, Alvarez is one to watch. If he starts against, if he starts in the Champions League game, then I would be a bit worried, maybe bringing him in case he gets a rest against Forest. If he doesn't start against in the Champions League game, then that should mean he starts against Forest. So I'm going to see how the Champions League goes. So don't do any transfers, guys. Wait till the last minute if you can, because Champions League, there's Europa League as well. Obviously, Liverpool are involved in that. So I wouldn't be going early on anyone. But yeah, I mean, major talking points I think we've got to discuss. We've discussed Chelsea quite a bit. I think we all agree that we probably should get rid of, one of the double ups attack. Are you concerned about someone like a Man United asset? You've not got any Man United assets. Obviously, Rashford still could have scored yesterday, Does he concern you, or if you had him, like for example, me with the Rashford owner, would you be selling, or what's your thoughts on Man United?
I think for this week, if I still had Rashford, I'll keep him for that Burnley away fixture, because you would hope to at least Man United to score some goals in that fixture, especially against a new promoted team where they've obviously struggled against other opposing teams at that level. And despite Man United being in a massive crisis at the moment, I still expect goals from that game. Whether Man United win that game or not, I can't really say, but I do expect goals coming from Rashford or other Man United assets. So I think at least having one Man United asset could be worthwhile going forward into this game week. But I wouldn't have two or more. Definitely not. Definitely only have one going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you've got Man United assets like Rashford, then I think he's an easy hold just because of the fact that he's Burnley away. So you'd expect Man United to bounce back against Burnley. They have to. You know, it's a very important game for them. You know, they're already 3 losses now, I think, in the first 5 games. So it's one of their worst starts in a while. So that's a big game. I wouldn't be selling Rashford. Even if you've got Bruno, it's maybe last chance saloon for those guys. So I think we probably want to hold on to your Man United assets. In terms of your Arsenal assets, you know, they've got Tottenham. I don't think I'd get rid of any Arsenal players. In terms of Saka, I wouldn't sell him. I think Bournemouth in game week 7, you'd want to hold. After that, it gets a bit tricky, if I'm being honest. You know, City is a tough one in game week 8. Chelsea, I think that's a perfectly fine game, if I'm being honest, if you're an Arsenal asset. Sheffield after that. So, yeah, I think you just hold on to your Arsenal assets really and just keep them.
I think it's hard to get rid of Saka as one of the Arsenal assets. There's so much value to hold to Saka, and his ownership is relatively high. And he's basically like a second version of Haaland, but a midfielder version of Haaland. It's just a player you don't want to get rid of because he can punish you quite a bit if you don't have him.
Let's touch on Spurs because they were Son was a bit frustrating again. He only had 0.16 XG in that Sheffield game, so didn't really have a massive chance to score. He's got Arsenal and Liverpool next, back to back. And Arsenal is an away fixture where Tottenham don't necessarily do well there in that game in previous years. And then after that, obviously Liverpool is another tough game. The way Liverpool are playing right now, they're playing well as well. What to do with the Spurs assets? Because after that, game week 8, Luton, and game week 9, Fulham. Surely we just hold them and just try get by the 2 tough fixtures coming up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, once you've committed to bringing in Son now, you may as well hold him on until they play Luton in 2 weeks' time. So, yeah, you just have to grind your teeth against Arsenal away and then Liverpool at home the following fixture after that and hope that Son gets one return out of those 2 fixtures to make it a bit worthwhile to hold on to him, obviously, until the fixtures swing back to easy when they play Luton.
Yeah, I'm going to be holding Son and hoping that he can get something against Arsenal on the counter-attack. Now, Son, I don't think he has a terrible record against Arsenal. So, yeah, I'm just going to hold. Hopefully he can get something, but it is a tough game for Spurs against Arsenal at the Emirates as well. So, but yeah, I think we'd be holding on to the likes of Maddison and Son if you've got them. Man City-wise, again, we've got to wait and see Champions League. If we think Alvarez is going to start, I think Alvarez could be a very good buy, especially for Jackson, who's not doing well at all. And Jackson's got Aston Villa next. So I think Alvarez for Jackson could be a nice little move. Chilwell, again, I think we spoke about Chelsea, but Chilwell's what personally I'm looking at. I could get rid for someone like Trippier. I think Newcastle assets we've got to start speaking about because
yes,
Newcastle, we didn't start with any of their players really at the start of the season because we said that the fixture run was pretty bad. You know, you look at the first 5 fixtures for Newcastle: Villa, Man City, Liverpool, Brighton, and Brentford. So they had very, very tough start. 2 wins in 5, so not the best of starts, but again, tough fixtures as I said. But now you look at Newcastle's fixtures and there's a sea of green. So Sheffield next, Burnley, West Ham, Palace, and Wolves. It is a bit of a swing now, and I think I'd be wanting to bring in some Newcastle assets now because the fixtures turn. I think Trippier could be a priority transfer. Someone like Botman as well if you want to go a bit cheaper. I am looking at bringing in a Newcastle defender. To be fair, is that something that you think is a good idea? Obviously, owning Botman, you're in a position that you can already just kind of play Botman against these nice green fixtures.
Yeah, that's partly why I kept Botman on the bench for these nice run of fixtures now that Newcastle do have. There has been another thought in mind of bringing another player for Newcastle, and that probably is to replace Nicholas Jackson. It is kind of a risky move, though, this player, because obviously he doesn't play every game and he does alternate between another player. But that maybe is Wilson, who did start in the last game. And obviously, because Wilson's on penalties, he did score from a penalty in that game. He could be worthwhile to go for these nice fixtures coming up, because that was his first 90-minute game for, I think, this season. I think he hasn't started this season apart from that game, Newcastle, when they played against Brentford. So I think Eddie Howe may play Wilson in his upcoming fixtures and bench Isak to obviously give him game time between one another, because he obviously wants to spread the play around the team, because obviously there's a lot of Newcastle players in that team and they all want to share of that place in the starting 11. So I think Wilson, as risky as it is, it could be a worthwhile pick to go forward with, especially the fixtures back-to-back newly promoted teams, 6 and 7 for game week, 6 and 7 for Newcastle. I think Wilson could have a really good 2 weeks if he is to start both of those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not personally still sure on Wilson. I think I have the worries about the rotation risk with Isak, and plus with the Champions League, I don't actually know. I can't predict who's going to start in a Newcastle team, so I probably won't be going there. But defense-wise, definitely, I'll be bringing in Trippier or Botman. But if you want to take that risk, but Sherwin, I think, kind of agrees with you. Wilson will play a majority of the games in the league. Again, I'm not sure, so I wouldn't be 100% going there myself, just because there was all that doubt.
Yeah, I think the other player I was thinking about was Gordon as well, because he did win the penalty given to Wilson, so he did get an assist from that, and he looks pretty dangerous, I think, in that Newcastle attack. Even though he don't play 90-minute football each game, he plays like 60 or 70 minutes. Again, he still could be a decent pick for these next 2 game weeks that Newcastle have. A differential pick as well. Not many people own Gordon. He's under 10% ownership and underlooked. And I think he will be underlooked going forward. Not many people will go for him, as he is taking up a midfielder spot. But that midfielder spot could be a replacement for Sterling. So maybe that could be a move some people will be tempted to go for.
Yeah. But yeah, what you're saying, like in regards to your team, like what are you thinking? How's your team looking? And I've got any early thoughts transfer wise, what you're planning on doing, because you already got the Newcastle defender in place. If you could bring your team up.
Yep. Right. So yeah, I mean, this game week, it's obviously my team for game week 6. We've got Edison goal, got Nottingham Forest at home. In defence, I have swapped out Udogi, who's on the bench, for Botman, who are Sheffield United away. SG Pinyan's got Bournemouth at home. Saliba has Tottenham at home. In the midfield, we've got Maddison, who's got Arsenal away. Sterling's got Aston Villa at home. Saka, who's got Tottenham at home. Foden's got Nottingham Forest at home. And Mbeumo, who's got Everton at home. And up front, we've got Jackson, who's got Aston Villa at home. And Haaland, who's got Nottingham Forest at home. But yeah, the reason why I benched Udogi, I don't think he will get a clean sheet in that game against Arsenal away. And he does clash with Saka. So I think I'd rather play the attacking player over the defensive one, even though Udogi shows some attacking threat. I still think it's going for Saka is more worthwhile, because I expect Saka to score against Spurs. So it makes sense to bench Udogi if I think Saka's going to score. So yeah, that's the team I'm going forward with for game week 6 so far, before any transfer obviously plans.
Okay. What would you be doing in terms of mover? Who are you looking at? Is it Jackson or Sterling, I'm assuming, or is it someone else surprised that you're thinking of getting rid of? Or are you thinking of rolling as it stands?
This is the interesting thing, because I was thinking of rolling, but do I want to roll again and play Chelsea, who has Aston Villa at home? 2 Chelsea assets. I'm in the split mind whether to roll or not, or get rid of one of the Chelsea assets. If I was to get rid of one, it would be obviously Jackson, and I might be tempted to go for either Wissa, who obviously has Everton at home. So I think that is a fixture to target. Obviously, Everton haven't won a game this season, are conceded in all their games. And obviously, Brentford did lose to Newcastle and they want to bounce back. And I think that's a nice fixture to bounce back to. So Wilson could be a replacement for Nicholas Jackson. I've also thought about Awani, but he has Man City, so I don't think I will do that. And obviously, Wilson is the third option that I'm thinking of doing. So it's between those three players.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, I'm looking at Alvarez personally. If I hear that he's going to start, I do think I've liked what Alvarez has shown this season. It looks like he's getting a lot more minutes. He looks like he's got Pep's trust. I think Pep actually came out and said that something about Alvarez being undroppable. So again, that's good to hear, I guess, for potential Alvarez owners. Alex says, yeah, you could go for a 1 week punt on Wissa, Alvarez, or Wilson, then go for Morris for the double. Yeah, it's something that you could do.
Yeah, that's very true.
Sherwin also says you could take a few punts knowing that you have a wild card as well. Yeah, look, I think those are all good options. I mean, I don't know what made us go for Jackson over the likes of Wissa and I mean, it's easy to say with hindsight, but there's so many other cheaper strikers potentially that we could add into our team. So we've gone with Jackson. A lot of us have gone with Jackson. Maybe it was, Chelsea looking quite good early on. So
yeah, I think it's because of the fixtures and the fact that Nkunku as well was injured.
Oh yeah.
So Jackson was really the only forward that Chelsea could play. So there's a bit more temptation in that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, the fixtures were good for Chelsea. I think a lot of us gambled on that, them actually improving, but looking like it's not really worked out that way. Christian says, I made life easy and put Morris in early. Wolves in a double game week 7. Long time lads, hope you're good. Yeah, hope you're good, Christian. As always, welcome to the stream. Jackson to Alvarez is going to be popular since animations. Yep, I think that will be. Luton, Forest, Bournemouth were definitely the reasons for Jackson. Yeah, I guess so. The fixes looked very, very nice. I mean, he did score, to be fair, against Luton, but we definitely expected more than the one goal, I think, in the three fixture run. So yeah. It's not great.
No, it's not great. Just answer Alex's question. How much I have? I have 4.5 million in the bank, Alex. So I have quite a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, so you can go to pretty much a lot of players in terms of moves, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I think we will wrap this one up, I think, shortly. If anyone's got any other comments that they want answered, or team specific, or any player they want us to speak about, let us know in the chat. I mean, Sherwin says Morris is a trap. I would agree with this. I don't know why you'd want to bring Luton players in personally. So I know they've got a double game week, but I don't think I'd be bringing in a Luton doubler personally. Or have you thought about that double game week 7 Luton? Or
it's slightly crossed my mind. It could. Well, I mean, if you've got a forward at that point like Nicholas Jackson who's not performing, then maybe going for like a punt on that double game week might be worthwhile going for something like that. I mean, if Morris doesn't score, at least he'll get 4 points at least. If he doesn't get a yellow card, then even match. But yeah, it's not really something I'll be going for.
Can you go Saka to Salah? Is there any way you can get Salah in your team? Also, you've got a bit of money in the bank.
Yeah, let me just check that one moment. If I can do that. Yes, Chris, I can.
Oh, you can.
I have 13.1, so yeah, I can bring in Salah.
Who's Salah got next? I think
Salah.
it's West Ham as well, isn't it? So I think Liverpool got West Ham next, I think.
Yeah, West Ham at home, so at Anfield. Tempting.
Could be tempting. I mean, I think Salah again. I think he's going to be quite popular, potentially on a wild card.
Yeah. Saying that though, I could take out Sterling for Salah.
Can you do Sterling to Salah?
Oh no, sorry, I can't.
No, you can't.
Short. It would have been nice if I could do that.
Yeah, it's got to be Saka, I think. But
it's got to be Saka.
Saka Tottenham. Definitely, it's interesting. Definitely gives you a little something
Yeah.
to think about.
It does. I think there's a lot to think about this coming game week. I think Game Week 5 has certainly raised some questions for some for some players.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to also say, guys, I haven't actually asked the stream yet. If you guys are still in the chat, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, please. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe to our channel as well. Also, just a quick announcement as well. I do actually have a second channel that I've actually created. It is a football channel, so all things football, where I'm going to be discussing, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, all that stuff. So if you do want to check my channel out, the link is in the description as well below. It's called Huss Talks Football. It's a new channel where I'll be discussing all things football, but this will still be as normal. But yeah, just want to shout that channel out. I'll be posting on there frequently. Sherwin says, easy move, Jordan. Jackson to Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, the fixture is tempting. Sheffield United away. I kind of have a hunch Wilson will start next game because after starting that last game against Brentford, he hasn't started many this game week. So I think Eddie Howe will give Isaac a rest and play Wilson a bit more in the upcoming game weeks. Fingers crossed.
Harry saying Nunes masterclass against West Ham. I mean, Nunes didn't start against who did Liverpool have again? Completely from mind blank. Nah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Wolves. Liverpool obviously came away winners in that game 3-1, but Nunes didn't start. But I'm hoping Nunes does start against West Ham because I think he would have started if it wasn't because of that international break coming back quite late from South America. So maybe Nunes does start against West Ham and he could be a nice little differential pick if you've got him. But I'm not sure I'd be going there yet. A wildcard game week 6. I mean, not for me. Have you considered? I mean, I'm guessing you haven't. I've not considered a wildcard 6.
No, I've not considered any chips so far in terms of wildcard. Definitely not on the table for me for game week 6.
And Hamza's also saying you're smashing it.
Oh, thanks, Hamza.
Sterling and Jackson to Salah and Wissa for a -4. Is that something that could tempt you?
Yes, potentially. It could be tempted. Potentially, even combination of Salah and Wissa could make up for that -4, even without Salah captain. I think that could be a decent -4 to look to go for.
Yeah, it's possible for sure. But yeah, I think we're just treading towards the hour now. We probably are going to wrap this stream up. Again, we will be back Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. UK time for the transfer tips video as always. If you haven't, guys, hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed to our channel as well. Anything else you want to add, Jordan, to the before we wrap it up?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for watching. As always, appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and hopefully you have a nice obviously week ahead of you, whatever you're planning to do. Until then, take care and we'll see you Tuesday for the transfer tip video for game week 6.
Yeah, guys, see you Tuesday for the transfer tips video. And take care. And hopefully you have a good weekend, whatever's left of it. And make sure you do check out my new channel as well, Huss Talks Football. Link is in the description below. And again, take care, guys. See you soon.